Hi guys, it's Kelly, and today I'm bringing you my September book haul, and I have about 15 books to show you, but before I get to those 15, I wanted to show you the 4 that I missed from my last book haul. So the last time I did a haul, and I'll link that video down below, and I said I went to Half Price Books and I got 4 books there, but I couldn't remember what they were and I'd already packed them away. Well, now that we're at the new place, I have them unpacked and I can show you the 4. I'll just show you real quick. I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson, and this is about twins that have had a falling out, and kind of like, I think it goes in 2 different timelines to go kind of like before the falling out and afterwards. And then I have When You Reach Me by Rebecca Steed, and I think this is like a middle grade mystery. And then Invictus by Ryan Groudon, and this is kind of like a sci-fi time traveling adventure kind of book. And then there was one more, I'll show you a picture that I think I left it at the old house, and I got Codename Verity, which is a YA novel about a British spy pilot who crashes in Nazi occupied Germany. So that's like a historical fiction. So those are the 4 that will be added to my last book haul that I talked about. And so now I have the 15 for this one. And most of these are from Book Outlet, but I have one to show you that's separate. And this is a book this is my first ever book that I was sent from the author for free for a fair review. And this is a self-published book. It's called Awaiting Dawn, The Story of Avalene by W.B. Cornell and A.N. Williams. They are a set of cousins that write together. Then they've written a few self-published books together. And this is a young adult fantasy book, and it's about Princess Avalene. And it sounds like she's lost her kingdom and her family, her freedom and everything, and is living under a new ruler. And sounds like she is a prisoner in her own home. Will she ever wake from this gilded nightmare? Sounds interesting. I haven't read a lot of self-published books, so I'm excited to read this and give it a fair review. I will be upfront and tell you that I'm actually related to this author, A.N. Williams. She is a cousin of mine in some way, and though we did not grow up together, but she did find me through like family members on Facebook and found out that I had a booktube channel and sent me the book for review. But I told her I would be completely honest about whether I liked it or not. So when I read this, I'll give you guys an honest review, but it's good to support some self-published authors, get their information out there. And so the rest of these books are all from Book Outlet. And the reason I even did this buy was because I just really wanted some new thrillers this month. And so I usually get my book recommendations from BookTube, but for this, I hadn't heard a lot of thrillers that I was really interested in, except for new releases, and I don't like to buy new releases because they cost more. So I just went on a Google search for like best thrillers in like 2016, 2017, so they would already be like cheaper in paperback. And so then I found these 4 on Book Outlet for good prices. So the first one is Are You Sleeping by Kathleen Barber. So there's a sticker right over her name. This actually came damaged, and I contacted Book Outlet, and within like 2 hours they had already emailed me back and said, we're sending you a new copy. So I'll get a new copy of this soon. But this is a thriller about a woman whose father was her father was murdered when she was younger, and her mother joined a cult, and so a lot of things have happened in her past, but now she's living a good life in her adulthood. But a reporter now wants to bring up all that information from her past, and she hasn't really it sounds like she hasn't told her current partner about her past, so I think that a lot of things will be unearthed, and then her having to deal with it coming back. And then I got In a Dark, Dark Wood by Ruth Ware. This one also had damage, but this one I paid for as a scratch and dent copy, so it was only $2, where the other one I paid the full Book Outlet price for it, so that's why I'm getting a new one of those. And this one I'll just tape the back, it's fine. It doesn't damage any of the parts that are like part of the story. It only cut the last couple pages, which are like the reader guide, so that doesn't matter, I'll just tape that. And this one, you know, is a popular like book out there. A lot of Ruth Ware's are, and so I've heard things about them, but I've heard both negatives and positives. My mom specifically told me to read this one, so since it was only $2, I thought I'll give her a try. I've never read any Ruth Ware, and I actually don't know anything about what that book's about because there is no synopsis on the book, and I don't remember what it said on Goodreads. And then I got The Child by Fiona Barton. I've never read anything by her, and this is about they're demolishing a house in London, and they find a tiny skeleton buried, and so this reporter investigates and is trying to find out who the baby was that was found in this house from a long time ago. So she's investigating past history of what happened. And then I got The Night Sister by Jennifer McMahon. I don't know, I should probably figure out how to pronounce that before reading it. And I don't really, like, even the back is a little confusing in the description, but I got this recommended from Mindy from Mindy's Book Journey, and she said she really enjoyed it. She just read it, like, I think a month ago. But it involves a motel that has a tower, and it sounds like there's a little spookiness in there, and like past things that have happened in this tower and how they affect people nowadays. So it could be a little bit like creepy ghost story as well as mystery. So I'm excited about that. And then now we're gonna get into a little bit of the contemporary books, but this one didn't really have a genre to fit into. This is called The Truth Commission by Susan Juby, and I saw this recommended by somebody on BookTube, and I actually do not remember who it was that recommended this. But it is called a narrative nonfiction. So I guess this is like a woman telling a story about something that happened in her life, and that I don't know how much of it is true and how much she is fictionalized, but it sounded interesting from the description about a group of people from an academy who are into like finding out people's secrets and getting the truth out. So I thought I would give it a try. I don't really know what narrative nonfiction means, so might as well try it. And sorry, I'm gonna bend over. I'm in the car, so I have to like put the books far away. Then I have about 4 like contemporary fiction books. I think most of these are kind of romancy based. And I have The Anatomical Shape of a Heart by Jen Bennett. And I got this without even reading the description because I've read 2 of Jen Bennett's books, Starry Eyes, and I just read Alex Approximately, and I really liked both of them. And so since this was for really cheap, I just thought I would try her again, because if I already like an author, I don't really need to read the description. And then I got The Only Thing Worse Than Me Is You by Lily Anderson, and I usually don't buy hardbacks, but this was actually like $1.99 or something like that, so I thought, well, might as well. And it sounded like a cute story, kind of a love to hate to love, which is one of my favorite tropes, kind of teen stories. And then The Loose Ends List by Carrie Firestone. I got this recommendation from Haley at Haley in Bookland, and it sounds like it'll be kind of a more dramatic YA contemporary about a girl who goes on this cruise that is for people that are dying, and her grandmother is dying, so her family is going on this cruise with her grandmother. And so it might be a little bit about letting go and grief in the process. But then she also said it was kind of light as well, so we'll see. Sorry, Eliza's not very happy right now. And then I have Magnolia by Christy Cook, and this also was really cheap. I think this was like $2 as well. And I got this. This was recommended by Kara from Wilde Book Garden, and actually the next few are recommended by her. And this is kind of about 2 families in the South that have been friends for generations, and they really want their families to be joined through marriage, and they finally get a chance, and these 2 young people that are 2 kids from one kid from each family that is finally the same age, so they're like, yay, they can get married and be together. But the kids obviously don't think that. They're teens that are like have no interest in marrying each other, and but I wonder though how that'll turn out. And then, like I said, the next few are all recommendations from Kara, and she reads a lot of like fairy tale retellings, and so these were all from a video she did about fairy tale retelling recommendations. I'll try to find it and link it below. And the first one is Ferris by Gail Carson Levine. I had read Ella Enchanted several years ago. Sorry about the light. Several years ago. I don't really remember much about it. Eliza, you're okay. I don't really remember much about it, but I thought I would give her a chance again because I've heard a couple people recommend this. Charlie from Charlie Trough, who's somebody I watch often on BookTube, also read this recently and liked it. And that I believe is middle grade. And then I have The Princess Curse by Mary Haskell, and this is a retelling of the 12 Dancing Princesses fairy tale. And then I have The Castle Behind Thorns by Mary Haskell, and I don't know if this is a retelling or just kind of fairy tale like, but it is about a boy who wakes up in an abandoned castle, and there's thorns kind of keeping him into the castle and his adventures to find out what has happened to this castle. And she recommended that as well. And then I have two more, and these were actually both recommended by Alex Black, so I'll link her channel down below. And the first is it's supposed to be a heartbreaking middle grade novel, A Mango-Shaped Space by Wendy Mass. And it's about a young girl who, when she thinks about sounds or numbers or words, that they are associated with a color for her. And I'm not sure what makes this a sad story, but Alex said that it was on her like top 5 crying books, so I got it. And it also gets really excellent reviews on Goodreads, so I thought I'd try it out. And then she also recommended The Lightless Sky by Gawali Pasarle, and this is a nonfiction about this man. When he was 12, was a refugee that was leaving Afghanistan to go to England, and so it's kind of his adventure as a child having to escape his home country and the refugee crisis and all that. And she said that it was very readable, and I've really been interested in reading something about refugees, and seeing as this sounds like it's going to be really readable, I thought I would give this one a try. So those are all the books I got from Book Outlet, and I just really love Book Outlet. If you haven't checked it out yet, you should, because you can get some really good deals, especially on books that are a couple of years old. And if you like paperbacks, I mean, like I do, and I think I got all of those books for less than $50. And like I said, they are going to send me a new copy of that damaged one. And before I leave, I want to let you know I always donate $1 for each of the books I have bought to a charity, and my charity for this month is from the Lutheran Social Services of Illinois, LSSI. That organization has a program called the Storybook Project, where inmates in prison can record themselves reading a picture book for their children, and then the organization takes that CD of them reading it and a copy of the book and sends it to the family, so that kids can have a bedtime story read to them by their parent who is in prison and they don't get to see on a day-to-day basis. And so it's a way for them to still connect with their parent. And I think that's an important way that, like, you know, when people get out of prison, they need to be able to reconnect with their families, and this is a way for them to stay connected during that time of incarceration. So I'll link that charity down below if you would like to learn more about it. And that's it for today. Hopefully Eliza wasn't being too loud back there. All right, bye.